first half of this video will focus on my experience with seeing the whole Harry Potter cast in New York, and the second part will be focused on my experience with Half-Blood Prince. So on to the story time. My family was on a vacation. We were hitting up Washington, D.C. and New York City all in one summer, and this portion of the trip was focused solely in New York City. I remember we got to our destination for the day. I think we were renting a car and we parked it for the day. As we were looking for parking spots, we found that the premiere for the Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince movie would be that day. We saw posters everywhere, the red carpet was already set up, and people were actually already standing outside the movie theater where the movie would premiere. We figured we're off doing our own thing for the day, so we're not gonna see a Harry Potter premiere, but what ended up happening is we went on with our daily activities. We did all our activities for the day, don't even remember what they were. On our way back to the car, we were walking back and this premiere is now crowded. And we get word that the premiere starting in about half an hour from what I remember. It was very close to starting. And so we're like, all right, we have time. Let's stick around and see if we can see anyone famous. I'm actually just going to read my journal entry from this day, July 9th, 2009. So I'm going to read this entry exactly how I wrote it in 2009. So I don't know what we're gonna get here. Dear Journal, today was probably the most funnest day of our whole vacation. Do you know why? Well, to start off the day, we went to Toys R Us while Dad looked at some things for Broadway. Oh, okay, I guess we did that. I didn't buy anything, but it was still fun. After the toy store, all of us went to M&M World. I got 3 Smash Penny souvenirs. All right, I'm gonna skip this part. Then we went to this movie premiere, and guess what movie it was? Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. The whole red carpet started at 6 p.m. and we got there at 5:30. So once it was 6, the first star we saw was the girl who plays Ginny Weasley. I didn't know the actress's name at the time, Bonnie Wright, but I'll show video clips of seeing her. A lot of the clips that I show you, the camera is very shaky. That's mostly because my sister who was filming was very excited, and I can't blame her. We were all very excited, so the camera is a little bit shaky. Second, it was Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe. My 2009 self knew that it was Daniel Radcliffe. It was so cool. I remember when Daniel Radcliffe's car pulled up, the windows were very tinted, dark, and so you couldn't see who was coming out of it. But once he made his appearance coming out of the car, the whole audience went berserk. They went crazy for him. Everyone was screaming at the top of their lungs. Third, we saw a little dwarf teacher that's in some movies. So that's referring to Warwick Davis, who plays Professor Flitwick, but I didn't know that at the time, and so I just call him Little Dwarf Teacher, but no offense taken, please. We also saw Dumbledore first. Okay, I guess I think what I'm trying to say is we saw Dumbledore before we saw Warwick Davis. Fourth was Tom Felton. He plays Draco Malfoy. Fifth was Severus Snape. He was so old. That's so sad that I put that. I think I was saying it because I'm used to him having the black long hair and he had gray short hair. Sixth, we saw Rupert Grint. He plays Ron Weasley. I also remember Rubert Grint when I saw him. He was chewing on something. I think he was chewing a piece of gum or something, but he was treating the whole thing so casually, so normally, and I just thought that was so cool at the time. I thought it was funny at the time, honestly, but looking back on it, it just seems like something Rupert Grint would do, that he's just like, oh yeah, another premiere, better chew my gum. I don't know, that was an awful impersonation, but you know what I mean. Last, we saw Emma Watson. She plays Hermione, and this might be the bigger highlight of the day. Once this all amazing stuff was over with, we all saw Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs. It was better than I thought. Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs was clearly the highlight of the day. I felt so bad because I remember there was this situation where I was standing on the cylinder cement thing that holds the lamppost up, and I remember this lady was like, sir, can you get a picture for me? She didn't talk like that at all, but she asked me to get a picture for her, and I took her camera and I took 5 pictures, and all of them turned out blurry, and I felt so bad. I was trying so hard to get a good picture, but it was a camera from 2009 and I wasn't able to get a clear shot. I gave it back to her and I was like, I'm so sorry, I couldn't get a clear picture. And I remember she was so sweet. She's like, oh, it's okay. And then she just kind of walked away, and then I was sad for a second, but then I just started looking at the Harry Potter cast again. So sad. Poor lady. Lady, if you're out there and you have your own Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince premiere video, I'm sorry. I hope that you don't bash me too hard. I hope your subscribers don't comment about how awful of a photographer I am. It was an amazing experience seeing all these Harry Potter actors and actresses. What are the odds that we are in New York City the same day as the Half-Blood Prince premiere? It's not anything that we could have planned. It just was one of those things that lined up so perfectly and we were able to see them all. So that is the story of when I saw the whole Harry Potter cast. Stick around, now I'm going to share some thoughts on how I feel about Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. So I got this DVD for my birthday. I want to say I also own the Nintendo DS Lite game. It's a movie that I actually got a little annoyed of at the time because I guess I'd seen it too many times or something. But on a rewatch this year, I loved it. I've never been a huge fan of the cinematography of this one, but it seemed to totally work on this rewatch. There are a few scenes that I want to most notably mention that really stand out to me from this one. I love Quidditch. I love that after this long break of missing Quidditch for 2 movies, it's back in the Harry Potter world, and it's the last time we see Quidditch in this series, and so it means a lot seeing Ron try out. The humor in this movie is on point. I think that this is the funniest Harry Potter movie. It makes me laugh so hard. Part of the reason is the script and the characters they're acting and everything, but a big reason is Professor Slughorn. Because man, the faces that Jim Broadbent makes as this character are hilarious. Next time you watch this movie, watch his faces that he makes. They are so funny to me.
Just in time for dessert. That is, if Belby's left you any.
Yeah, I really like Jim Broadbent. Amazing casting choice for Professor Slughorn. While I'm talking about Slughorn, I want to kind of transition into the Liquid Luck scene. This is kind of the infamous scene for being super funny in the Harry Potter movies. As you guys know, Harry has liquid luck, and so he's just kind of going off of whatever his thoughts tell him to do, whatever the potion tells him to do, I should say, which involves going to Hagrid's and going to the funeral for Aragog. A scene that is not talked about a lot from the franchise in general is Aragog's funeral scene. I love this scene. I think that it's sweet to see Hagrid, how attached he was to Aragog. I also love how Slughorn is as Slughorn as ever. Like, as this best friend of Hagrid's is dead lying before him, he asks if he can take the spider venom for potions in the future. Something that they add in this movie that's not in the book is Slughorn accidentally pulling off one of the legs or pinchers, whatever it is. That part is hilarious. I also like the little eulogy that Slughorn gives to Aragog. His eulogy is very touching, but you almost can't help but like laugh at it. He's all coming up with it on the spot, so I think it's really funny. But the score in this scene is very powerful. I really like it, and it wasn't until this rewatch that I noticed how powerful that score is. It doesn't really feel like Harry Potter. It feels more like a pioneer movie from the 1800s, the score. Plus the following scene when you see Hagrid and Slughorn getting drunk together, and Harry's just kind of watching. He's along for the ride, huge smile on his face. You know Harry on Liquid Luck. Ha! Tosser. It's funny seeing them drunk together, but the scene I love really a lot of much is when Harry is trying to convince Slughorn to give him the memory of his interaction with Tom Riddle as a Hogwarts student. In both the book and the movie, I love this scene, especially when Harry tells Slughorn, be brave like my mom. If you aren't willing to do this, then my mom died for nothing. Like, be brave for her. Make her death worth something. It's just such a powerful scene and really gets me emotional. Dumbledore's death, I think, is handled well enough for this movie. I think that it was handled a lot better in the book, but I will say that I like the slow shot of him falling off the castle. Very impactful, that scene. Something that I wish they included more in the movie that they exclude from the book with his death is everyone's reaction to finding out that he dies. I cried in the book when I found out he died, and this was on a reread, but this is when I read it just now a few weeks ago. I cried knowing that it was coming, but it's just because of how well the characters' reactions are written to his death. I mean, when Hagrid finds out, when McGonagall finds out, the funeral, which is not even in the movie, you see Ron and Hermione crying, you see other people you don't like Umbridge at the funeral. And so I wish that they kind of changed up the ending a little bit to this movie. I will also mention the Battle of Hogwarts at the end of this one. No, not the Battle of Hogwarts at Deathly Hallows, but there is a Battle of Hogwarts in the book for this movie. There is a Battle of Hogwarts in the book for this story, and it is amazing. What ends up happening is in the movie, Harry drinks all of his liquid luck, but in the book, he only drinks half of it when he does need it, and he saves the rest of the potion for his friends so that just in case anything bad happens, they can drink the liquid luck and defend themselves at Hogwarts. Well, something bad happens and all of them fight Death Eaters off. It is a very exciting scene. Harry runs after Snape and it's much more intense than the movie plays it out to be. The movie isn't like bad at adapting this, but I just think that it could have been better. Overall, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince went from being one of my least favorite movies of this series to one of my favorite movies. But with that being said, I love all these movies, so take that with a grain of salt. I love Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I think that overall it got what it was trying to get accomplished. There are a lot of memories from Voldemort's past left out of the movie, but I think the ones that they did include in the movie are the ones that are the most important ones and the ones that we need the most. Scenes that they leave out that are in the book, I feel like if there's any drastic details they need to include, they're able to fit it in the Deathly Hallows movies. Guys, thank you so much for watching another entry in the Harry Potter series that I've been doing this summer. Next week will be the final video where I talk about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, both part 1 and part 2. So definitely make sure to mark your calendar calendars or set your notifications so that you can check out that video. And as always, give me your thoughts on Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Excited to read them. Have a great day.
Hi.
Hi.
What'd they think of the Harry Potter thing?
Never seen all Harry Potter cast.
Okay, let's name who we saw.
Okay,
We saw Harry Potter,
Ron Weasley, Snape, Severus Snape, Hermione, Malfoy, Draco, Ginny Weasley.
Oh yeah,
And
Ginny
that's all.
Weasley.
They were all so cute.
I know, it was awesome. Oh, and we saw Munchkin. It's gonna be great. We saw a Munchkin teacher. Oh yeah, we also saw a Munchkin. It was awesome.
Oh, and Dumbledore.
Later. Yeah, we said that.
Bye.